You could say this deck evens out the odds.
Only shooting stars break the mold.
Hello everybody and welcome to Brawl Stars. I'm Amy the Amazonian and today's deck is an odd one, or I should say it's an even one. I'm playing a Muldrotha deck. Muldrotha is actually one of the most popular commanders. Muldrotha the Gravetide allows you to replay permanents from your graveyard. They still follow all the rules for timing and everything else, but you can bring them back. And that's so good that I've actually decided that we need to restrict this deck by making it so every single card in the deck is an even mana value. But you know what? That actually wasn't enough. Every single card in this deck can be replayed from the graveyard. That's right. This deck is a double theme, all-in-one Muldrotha extravaganza. I said that so poorly, but you know what? You know what I mean. This deck has a couple MDFCs like Tangled Florahedron, Jwari Disruption, which can be played from the graveyard as lands. We've got these great utility cards that sacrifice themselves, like Binding the Old God, so we can play them again. We've got cards that have incredible enter the battlefield abilities like Ravenous Chupacabra. We've got discard for me, discard for you. We've got discard for everybody. That's right. We're going crazy with this deck. There are so many cards that are good with Muldrotha that finding only 100 to put into the deck is a challenge. You are going to be pulling 200, 300 cards into a pile and then trimming them down if you're anything like me. That's why we decided to make this deck very limited in its scope, which actually gives it a lot of depth. So we're running things with Channel because they put themselves in a graveyard. Somebody's beeping outside. Would you stop that? They put themselves in a graveyard so we can play them again with Muldrotha. We've got things that channel. We've got things that cycle. We've got things that enter the battlefield. This deck overall is really, really cool. And of course, it being in Sultai colors, that's green, black, and blue, means that we have some of the strongest and highest valued cards. Now, if you wanted to break away from, I don't know, that second theme that I chose, which is everything can be replayed from the graveyard, there are a ton of strong choices you can throw in this deck, like Casualties of War. What a card. There are even things that, if you decide you want to go with odds and evens and miss out as Gyruda as your companion, you're gonna be getting enter the battlefield abilities on cards like Reclamation Sage that are just so dang nice. But we're gonna take this deck in with all of its extra bits in the queue and see what it can do. As Unsung is running Jan Jansen Chaos Crafter. I've got 3 mana in this hand and a lot of very expensive spells, but I'm still willing to keep this. Jan Jansen is a hasty gnome who comes into play and then sacrifices various artifacts to, well, make more artifacts. You sacrifice an artifact creature to make 2 treasures and sacrifice a non-creature artifact to create 2 constructs. Because he's got haste, you can activate him the turn he comes out, which is really great value. Okay, Virus Beetles coming down. I have that in this deck too. And I'm going to drop Hydroid Crisis, which we can play later. We could even get it back with Tamiyo if we felt we needed to. Because I want to hold up my Jwari Disruption, I'm just going to pass the turn here. Jwari Disruption counters a spell unless its owner can pay 1. So, hey, Jan Jansen, you want to come out this turn? No? Somebody else? Oh, Hidden Stockpile! I will definitely hit the Hidden Stockpile because this would be giving them an extra servo at the end of the turn. It's also a good little sacrifice outlet. Do I want to kill this Virus Beetle? I definitely can using this Voracious Hydra here. I do not think that that would be a bad move, so I'm going to take it. There we go. Voracious Hydra for X equals 1 is going to fight the Virus Beetle, and I'm doing this so they cannot sacrifice it to Jan Jansen to make 2 treasures. They're ramping Ornithopter of Paradise and Steel Overseer. This is another really scary card, but hopefully we'll be able to break through, take it out, and deal with it. For now, I'm going to pay 2, and I'm going to go ahead and grab Tamiyo. And what do I feel like naming? Now, normally when you see a Tamiyo, you think something like Time Warp, right? Oh, we're not doing Time Warp here. You know what I'm going to name? I'm going to name Massacre Worm. Could I even play it with the mana I have? No. Is it awesome? Yes. Steel Overseer taps to put +1/+1s on all their artifact creatures, including the Ornithopter of Paradise. Halo Fountain? Oh my gosh! To untap this or this. That's some really good tech. Well, it looks like they tapped this for white. And they're not actually going for the Steel Overseer being tapped twice. They're going to be going instead for a D-Spark! Alright, exile means Tamiyo is gone forever. There are a lot of exiling pieces of removal, by the way, that we are not running in this deck, despite otherwise being able to, purely because of my secondary stipulation of no instants and sorceries. They can't be replayed from the graveyard. Well, now my little Voracious Hydra is going to hang out. We have some nice stuff in the graveyard, though. Evolving Wilds, we've got that Hydroid Crisis that we discarded before. Gaunty and City Stalker Connoisseur. Hi, Jan! I feel like we're going to see the Ornithopter of Paradise sacrificed, and then Jan Jansen untapped. Maybe not, though. Oh, okay. I guess they just want to make one really big Steel Overseer. Which is totally fine. That's a good card. It is a very good card. Yeah, I was actually wondering why they didn't do this before. But that's alright. They now have these constructs, which can get +1/+1 counters. I think that my best move, though, is going to be to use this Meat Hook Massacre in order to take out a large portion of the battlefield before it gets too big for me to handle. So I'm just going to go for X equals 1, 2, 3, 4. We also have to keep this board under control, because if they get 5 white mana and untap 15 tapped creatures, they do win the game. Notable. Very good. Alright, so there you have hit them, one of my creatures dies, so they lose 1 life, and the battlefield is clear. Jan Jansen, though, is probably going to come back and either turn that treasure into creatures and then get untapped by the Halo Fountain to do it again and turn one of the constructs into treasures. I suppose they could do it on any turn. They may as well wait. Let's see if there's a Vraska. We could destroy the Halo Fountain with that. We could also just go for Gyruda. I'm going to go for Gyruda. Gyruda is going to mill both players. Hey, that's an Ulamog! 6 mana for a 6/6 and an indestructible 10/10. Sounds good to me. Part of, by the way, the reason you would like Gyruda as a companion in this deck is because Gyruda's good. So good. Incredibly good. We also had some pretty good hits on their deck, too. Just, ours were, you know, better. Like Ulamog, who's an Eldrazi Titan. Sword of the Meek. Oh, whenever they make a 1/1, it automatically equips. They can also sacrifice Sword of the Meek here. Nice. I was going to say, to get it immediately back from the graveyard onto the battlefield. This person knows what they're doing with Jan Jansen, and I really respect that. Very often you end up seeing Jan Jansen as like a strange Paradox Engine deck that's not actually using Jan Jansen for that much. This is really neat, and I do appreciate seeing that. Okay, they exiled Ulamog. That's completely reasonable. Ooh, and they're swinging in with the little guys. I'm going to block the Construct because I think it's more valuable to them as a Jan Jansen deck than the 1/1 Citizen token. Now we have enough mana that we would be able to get some good use out of Muldrotha. be able to replay a land, possibly a creature. But I'd rather wait until I have a little bit more, especially because we have such good stuff in hand. We know that they have Rite of Oblivion, and they are going to be able to exile another one of my cards, which I won't be able to bring back. Let's see. Giving -2/-1 gets rid of a creature. 3 life unless they sacrifice or discard. They will be making lots of permanents, so I think I'm going to go with the Hag of Inner Weakness. And discarding a card. Right now, their hand is empty. Maybe making a skeleton. Let's make a skeleton. And the witches are cackling. If I attack in here, I assume they'll block and sacrifice. We attack. They sacrifice. And the construct. This construct is so goofy looking. I'm sure this is, like, very flavorful to the Dungeons and Dragons people who know about it. But as somebody who's not that knowledgeable about D&D, this is just a silly looking mustache guy. He's doing parkour though. Parkour! Yes, hello, I have many hags. Which one would you like to get rid of? I think you go for the Hourglass Coven itself. The Hourglass Coven, because it is recurable with my commander, is pretty scary. It's also giving +1/+1 to the other 2 hags. Everybody loves a Coven of Hags. Alright, they're swinging in. I block. And I also believe that the Inventor's Fair is currently on. If they'd want to, they can actually search their library for an artifact card, something like Paradox Engine or another very strong artifact, portal even, and bring it into their hand. Sword of the Meek coming back. Love to see that loop, though. And Jensen's just like, I'm untapped. What the heck's happening? Thankfully, this Meathook Massacre is the nerfed one, or them sacrificing their creatures would be really bad because it would be gaining me life. The alchemy version of Meathook Massacre has that part of the text removed. It just has my creatures dying, causing them to lose life. Okay, they went for Sky Sovereign. Nice, so Sky Sovereign on play and on attack is going to be able to blast for 3 damage. And they're hitting... which hag? The -2/-1 one. I've made a skeleton! A normal person thing to do. On account of all the bones. This could be the Muldrotha turn. Let's see if they're willing to trade the Sky Sovereign for Gyruda. And indeed they weren't. They'll be able to sacrifice it in response, so I won't get the treasure token. And they do have Evasion still on the board, the Cave of the Frost Dragon. They'll be able to kill Vraska on this turn. They could also exile her, which is probably a better idea. She's super strong. She'd be able to destroy the Halo Fountain. I think that taking out Vraska is a very reasonable thing to do. Especially taking her out permanently, so I don't bring her back with Muldrotha. Ah, permanents. Yep, there we go. Cave of the Frost Dragon swinging in the air. Swoosh. Apparently the Hourglass Coven are the coven from the Wilds Beyond the Witchlight, which is a fairly recent D&D book. Neato. They sacrificed a treasure. They now have more constructs. This Halo Fountain is getting closer and closer to winning the game. Oh, I love that. They untap their creature, which is also a land. Gives them a bit of a refund. Well, I'm going to start getting my commander up and running. We'll bring out a land. Start with Argoth, since it comes in untapped. And as far as the creatures go, I actually don't want to bring back the creature. My big thing is I want to bring out these boots so I can protect Muldrotha. Muldrotha now has Hexproof! And the Rite of Oblivion can hit the boots, sure, but can't hit Muldrotha. Seems like a good enough time for me to attack. I'm gonna attack with some witches, too. Thank you, Muldrotha. You look so good in those boots. Muldrotha, by the way, is actually the child of another magic character who's shown up quite a bit. Multani, the Morrow Sorcerer. Multani is referenced right here. My child grew not from rot and ruin, yet she bloomed. Multani, I guess, was the progenitor of Muldrotha. This big swamp beast. Muldrotha's pretty, though. I like the transparency of, like, this water coming up. Really cool card design. Very, very Sultai. Alright, Jan Jansen sacrificing on a treasure. Yes, I have many scary things in my graveyard. Gaunty. City Stalker Connoisseur. Voracious Hydra. I think the Vraska taking out the Halo Fountain is a pretty good one. Alright, I love this. So they went for the boots. They want to be able to kill or get rid of Muldrotha by some means. And it's going to be Swords to Plowshares. Alright. Muldrotha's off the battlefield and taxed once more. I make a skeleton! Urtai. I feel like I don't really need to thin out my deck for lands right now. But I am getting really close to this Halo Fountain winning the game for them. If that is the case, I will be able to counter it using Urtai. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can they get to 15 this turn? Oh, you know, I didn't account for the cave. They would have to tap them all, though, so it can't be on a turn where they all have Summoning Sickness unless they have a way to tap them. Yeah, that's a lot of you. That's a lot of you. And Jansen making even more buddies. The Sword of Lamik comes back. I love that it keeps coming back so they can still keep sacrificing it. It's so spicy. Oh, but they're conceding! And if you're wondering why, the answer is right here in the graveyard. Vraska's gonna come back. They know about her. And she's going to destroy the Halo Fountain. What can they do about it? Nothing. What they don't know about is I also have Urtai Resurrected, which, if they activated this, would, you know, do nothing. It would untap their creatures, but they wouldn't win the game. Good game, Jan Jansen. I like your deck. Mazzy, True Sword Paladin, is an Aura's commander in Naya colors. I'm going to keep this hand. It's got enough lands in it for me to be happy. And we're going to take over here, look at Mazzy. Mazzy is a halfling knight. Whenever an enchanted creature attacks one of your opponents, so it includes if you have other opponents attacking other opponents you have, not relevant at all in 1v1. It gets +2/+0 and gains trample until end of turn. And whenever an aura you control is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, exile it and you can recast it. Some pretty cool stuff. Let's ram. My deck has milling cards, very good. Killing cards, very good. And creating so much value. Oh, hey, SRAM. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of SRAM. Playing this Binding the Old Gods, normally I would have to be very cautious about saving it until I get the right value for it. I don't have that many kill spells. But with Muldrotha as our beautiful commander, it can come back. Also, Acolyte of Affliction can bring it back, which is pretty neat. Iliad's Pilgrim. Searching for an aura. Putting it into their hand. The aura they chose is Sixth Sense, which is the Curiosity in green. Get our Zagoth Triome here. And I will play Atris. This will let me block, and it will also put some stuff in my graveyard. Thanks, Atris. I appreciate that about you. We have card advantage. Clone Crafter or question mark, question mark, question mark? I'll take the Clone Crafter. I can play it now, and whatever this is... Oh, look, it's Tamiyo! Can come back later. I put the Sixth Sense onto the Heliod's Pilgrim. And now there's Swords to Plowsharing the Atris, so I'm not able to block. Dragon Mantle. Oh, okay. Somebody has text. So because Mazzy's not on the battlefield, I can take this out, and I'll be taking out these two different auras too. So I think right now is a great turn to do this. I'm going to use Vraska, Relic Seeker. And we're just going to minus to destroy Heliod's Pilgrim. Pew! That gives me enough mana to play another creature, Clone Crafter. There are a bunch of auras that do give haste, which is important for Mazzy's build. Oh, I got a Jukai Naturalist. Well, that's fun. Hey, Fleetfoot Dancer. I will block here to keep Vraska alive. Ah, nice! So, with the amount of mana I have here, I'm going to play Acolyte of Affliction. Acolyte of Affliction is going to let me bring back a permanent. And remember, they're all permanents. I'm going to grab Binding the Old Gods. And we're going to use that to take out the Fleetfoot Dancer. Bye! And now we plus with Vraska. Now, if I'm the opponent, I'm seeing an opponent who has twice as much mana as me. Extremely high value generating cards. And I would probably consider conceding around this point of the game, even at 29 life. But, oh, it looks like our opponent's not a quitter. No, no, no. They know they can come back from this. They've got Danitha, Benalia's Hope. Draws a card off the Dragon Mantle. I'm going to force out of my deck. How about this one? It comes in tapped. I appreciate you not being a quitter, Danitha player. No, no, no. No quitters here. Only cool guys. I kind of want to play this Jukai Naturalist. Yeah! Naturalist it is. I'll attack in with our pirate here. I'm actually just going to hold this Dream Eater open. This lets me bounce something that my opponent controls. Maybe Danitha, maybe Mazzy. It also lets me surveil, so filling up my graveyard with more stuff for Muldrotha. Synergy! Swiftfoot Boots. Swiftfoot Boots? I don't think so. I'm gonna play the Dream Eater and throw the Danitha back into their hand. No boots! I have ways to destroy the boots, though. Everything in the graveyard. None of those are cards I particularly feel like I need right now. So we're going to try to yeet this back into hand. Yeet. Oh, look at that! Protection! Okay. Would you like to attack? Because I can quadruple block you, and you will die. Hey, Death Touch! Everybody likes Death Touch. Well, maybe not everybody. I like Death Touch. I want to go for Gyruda this turn. See what I can get. I see Gaunty, I see Tasha, Light Paws on their end, which is awesome in their deck. Gaunty it is! We're gonna steal! And we stole... Ooh, the audacity. I'm gonna go ahead and take out that Swiftfoot Boot. Roots. And we're gonna give Dream Eater +2/+0 and Trample. We're gonna swing in with the two menacing fellas and the Dream Eater, and our opponent is going to concede. Yeah, the reusable removal from this deck is so scary. And I love to see it work. Our opponent is an Obsidian Walrus. And they're running Urza, Lord Protector. And keep this hand. Urza, Lord Protector, is the Meld Urza from Brothers War. And turns into a really scary Planeswalker. And when he's on the battlefield is pretty good for just making your counter spells and kill spells cheaper in these colors. Let's go ahead and get down some blue and black. Do I want to make them discard or do I want to hold up a counter spell? I'm going to go for the discard, starting with the Virus Beetle. I have a bunch of these different 2-mana discard cards in black, and I really like the Virus Beetle as one of them because it is also an artifact, meaning that on a turn I could bring back, say, both the Virus Beetle and the Acquisitions Expert. They could probably play their commander next turn, but I feel like my opponent is the kind of person who's just going to be playing counterspells and holding up mana on turn 3 rather than dropping down Urza. Okay, that's a commit to memory. I'm going to play the Gyruda as a land. It's the Gyruda Ruins. The Celestis is out. Definitely don't want to be bouncing these creatures. We have a lot of enter the battlefield value here. And I just got a really sweet ramp card, Key to the Archive. This also ramps the Solemn Simulacrum. But Key to the Archive is ramp plus a broken spell. They could counter it. They could counter it. It looks like they're just going to go draw a card. Key to the Archive. What do we get? Time Warp? Lightning Bolt. Croson Grip. That's a Time Warp. I'm going to take the Time Warp. Time Warp is a nice card. I actually have ways to bring it back from my graveyard in this deck, which is kind of gross. But most importantly, it's just extra turns. And also, if I put a permanent in my graveyard, I can play it anyway. Thanks, Muldrotha. Hey, Oswald Fiddlebender. You know what this means? It means this is a Paradox Engine deck. Why do they always have to be Paradox Engine decks? Well, thankfully, I can just kill Oswald. Unless that's a counterspell? No? Okay, great! No Swan Songs, no whammies. I guess Swan Song wouldn't be able to do anything here anyway. In we go for another 2 damage. Bit by bit, we'll blast to their battlefield. And Urza, who's going to reduce the cost of instants and sorceries Instants, sorceries, and artifacts. Alright. And they have 4 mana up, which is enough to cast most of the spells I would be afraid of. I'll attack with the Noxious Gearhulk. Go for the Time Warp. I suspect this will be countered. Wash away! That's fine. I mean, I got this for free off the Key to the Archive anyway. So Source of Plowshares and a Noxious Gearhulk. That's going to stop me from recurring it from the graveyard. Rude. And Memory! Whee! Thanks for the lands. Hey, look! We can do the Time Warp again. What are the chances of that? No, don't actually tell me the odds. Oh, no. So, by the way, I played the land there untapped in case of a Spell Pierce type effect. I think it was the right move to make. Hey, Tamiyo! You want to bring back that Time Warp? Am I doing anything with these turns? Yeah, I am. I'm ramping. And our opponent is conceding. DIY Turbo Fog. Gotta hate it. We're up against Micah playing Mono Red Chandra, dressed to kill. This hand is a little slow, but I do like having a Meathook Massacre here. I will keep this, and hopefully we'll get another black source like this, and we'll be in the clear. Let's go for green. Hello, Cold Steel Heart. They're ramping. This must be a big ramp deck. And here's the Null Priest of Oblivion. It's a really nice card because it works as a reanimator, as well as just a little aggressive lifelink and thing bonker. It's nice. It's hard to deal with. And with Muldrotha, it's a reanimator that I can actually play from the graveyard. Which is really neat if you ask me. I'm going to go ahead and smash into Chandra. Oh, this is Oops All Chandra. That's a Chandra's Regulator. You only see this card in a deck that's chock full of everybody's favorite red planeswalker, Chandra. Well, maybe not everybody's favorite, but it's one of my favorites. Do you care to duplicate this? That they do. That's adding 2 red mana for the cost of... They paid 1 red mana there. And Goblin Chainwhirler. Oh, goodbye, my sweet. That's too bad. Well, I could always hold up a counter creature here. An Urtai Resurrected. And I could just, like, I don't know, knock the Chandra off the battlefield. That sounds okay for me. I'm happy letting this plus twice. Torbran! No! Hi, I'm Urtai. Do you have anything you want to do off 2 mana? Okay. 1, 2. They bought me twice. That's part of why I had to hit that Torbran, is because that was going to deal so much damage. A young Pyromancer. Ooh, another spell. A Shock would be pretty good, taking out the Urtai. Gonna go ahead and ram into Chandra with our Urtai. Alright. That gives me the, do I want to Meathook Massacre and kill all these creatures? Do I want to, I don't know, set up for an Hourglass Coven? Do I want to set up for Phyrexian Scriptures? I think I'll just do that. Phyrexian Scriptures. We're gonna put this +1/+1 counter on him. He is now an artifact, which is a normal thing for a guy to be. It actually kind of makes sense for, like, Phyrexians to be artifacts. They got all these machine parts to them. Regulator, they're discarding a mountain to draw a fresh card. If I had used the scriptures before combat, they almost certainly would have blocked. Dragon's Fire and Chandra Awakened Inferno. They don't have enough mana for one of the strongest cards in red. But they do have enough to kill Urtai. Bye, Urtai. All these are going to be dead, though. And this is going to be gone because, you know, it's only until end of turn. Bye, other Chandra. And goodbye, creatures. I love not having to think about that. They're just gone and eliminated and not even in my line of sight. So what do we want? Ooh, gaining life and discarding cards. The Coven is out. The Hourglass Coven. Chandra, Torch of Defiance, is able to kill one of these, or two if they use the Regulator. Sounds like a really good move. Do they hit the discard one, or the gain and train? Okay, they hit discard and the OG tag. Checking what's on top of their deck. I copied it. Ember's Shield Breaker. And a Fervent Champion. Can only play one of those. Thank you for gaining me life against a mono red deck. I really appreciate that. Now this, right here, is a problem. So I'm going to do something kind of mean. We're going to Meat Hook for 1. That's just going to take out the Shield Breaker, and it's going to give me enough damage to take out Chandra, Torch of Defiance, who's one of the scariest, most powerful, incredible Planeswalkers, because Chandra just gets good cards. She really does. And I will ramp. And I will ramp. I will ramp some more. Exiling more cards off the top. They got a Smoldering Egg and a Mountain. You can only play red cards, and lands are actually colorless. Discarded another Mountain. Ended up with a Mountain. Nice. We're stabilizing. Get a creature out from our graveyard. Get some boots out on the battlefield. Oh, let's get out the Null Priest. I don't have to kick it for it to be a good card. It gives me evasion, which is good for doing things like hitting Chandra just to kill. A Dragon Master Outcast is a must-kill card for me. Because they do have 6 or more lands, which means that every upkeep, for their upkeeps, they'll get a 5/5 dragon. And I can't deal with that. Thundering Rebuke. You have another spell? Grape Shot! Ooh, hot grapes. Let them take out the Null Priest as well. I love how the Hag has just been chilling this whole time. Yep, I'll move you back. Vraska! Does what I need, and what I need is to kill the Dragon Master Outcast. I also, could put on the boots, put this in hand. I'm just gonna put my Gyruda in hand. That sounds fun. I like Gyruda. Still doing that regulator nonsense. Ooh, here comes another Chandra. This is the War of the Spark Chandra. They exile from the top. I feel like they won't want to copy this because they only have 2 mana up. Lava Coil. Hey, do you want to take this out? You're almost at bird flipping time. So this egg hatches when it gets 7 counters on it. Which, thankfully, they're not quite at yet. Go for Gyruda. Very nice. Okay. I'm going to use the Dream Eater to bounce. Oh, I want all of these cards. Just maybe not in this order. We can put most of these in the graveyard, by the way, because we can bring them back with Muldrotha. I'm gonna go ahead and boop that back into hand. So it loses all of its counters. We're gonna play Otawara. Use this mana to get at the boots. Put the boots on the Dream Eater. And we're gonna smash the Dream Eater into this Chandra dressed to kill their commander. The reason I'm not hitting this one is because they're able to reflect that 4 damage onto my face or onto another planeswalker. Which, Vraska. I made them Lego their Ego. Cycling the Forgotten Cave. I've definitely hit a lot of lands. The fact that they have more lands than me, a little crazy. The Smoldering Egg returns. The Spikefield Hazard is able to deal 1 damage. May as well. Take that Vraska down a little bit. A Flame Blessed Bolt on this pirate token. Hashtag Yar. Boiling Vortex is kind of cool. It hurts both of us. It stops my life gain ability. I think I'm going to take out the Regulator, though. I said good game. GG, Micah. It turns out that Sultai greatly outvalues Mono Red, which, yeah, that makes sense. Sultai's good. Dynamite is playing Varus Silvery Moon Ranger. This is just, I guess, mono green dungeon? Varus is a fine card. Has reach, ward 1. When you cast a creature or planeswalker, first time each turn. Venture into the dungeon. It's not that, like, impressive, but it's not bad. I like Varus. It's a good excuse to play mono green, not around anything that's too crazy. Oh, this could also be elves. This is an elf. This is an elf. This is an elf. Well, a half elf. Get this out. We can either go for green, because we do have double green, or black, because we have double black. I'm going to go for the double black with a Yurix Fenlurker. Circle of Dream Druids. Oh, this is totally an elf deck. I'm a little scared and worried about that. Let's go ahead and get down this Lotus Cobra. My hissy baby. Get some black mana, and we'll play Yurix Fenlurker. They'll exile a card from their hand. But they have super duper high amounts of mana next turn. Hey, that's not an elf. That's a snake. Right now they have... Ooh, In Search of Greatness. Nice. Lets them cheat out permanents, or just scry. Nylea. Wanna play your Varus? It only costs 2 mana. I know you do. Tap the Sentinel, tap this. No? I could just go for Muldrotha here. Maybe some ramp. Let's do some ramp. I'm gonna use my Greater Tanuki to get a forest, since we're kind of missing green. It comes in tapped, but it still triggers the Lotus Cobra. And I get out Polukranos. Polukranos is pretty nice. In part because Elvish Warmaster has this really big ability, giving elves +2/+2 and Death Touch until end of turn. Death Touch doesn't work on Polukranos because damage is actually prevented against it. You essentially trade damage for counters. Alright, Circle of Dream Druids is currently tapping for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just enough for that Elvish War Master ability. I'm gonna throw Polukranos in front of the War Master, and I'm gonna just chump block Nylea here. They activate this, +2/+2, and Death Touch. Doesn't kill me. Polukranos is still alive. It's a 1/1. But it's still alive! They have one card left in their hand, and I think we should make them exile it. I'm gonna get down Muldrotha. Recast the Yerix Fenlarker from our graveyard. It was Heroic Intervention! Somebody in my chat, Guilt by Association, said, I wonder if they have Heroic Intervention, which would make sense as a reason to hold up 2 mana rather than playing your Commander Varus. Leaf-Crowned Visionary, giving them card advantage off their elves. Pyrax Tower Scout, letting them untap their Circle of Dream Druid. Also, not an elf, it's a human. Still, they have a use for all that mana. Nylea Keen-Eyed is very easily able to reuse the mana. That is not a creature, that is a shared summons. I might keep that on top, though, because it gets them any creature. Like a, I don't know, Greater Hoof Behemoth. Looks like no attacks here. And I'm actually going to just be proactive. They've kept a lot of things on top based on the idea that they'll have enough mana to use it. Which they won't. Can copy something from their deck. I could just put my Gyruda in hand. I like that. I'll do that. Shared summons. They still do have mana enough, and they can use this to get, let's say, Crater Hoof Behemoth and an elf that taps for mana equal to the number of elves. Or maybe Marwyn. Something like that. Another big mana source. I think that that's a very good use of this turn. No, I actually forgot Shared Summons was an instant. Neat. In Search of Greatness. They have a human. They actually could do the Indestructible Gambit on Kogel if they end up with enough mana. Selvala definitely helps with mana. Would make sense to get her. Especially with something like Nylea out as the biggest creature on the battlefield, except for Muldrotha. But I also have big, scary creatures. Ooh, I want to cast them so bad. Elvish Archery! So this is actually the thing I was thinking they were going to tutor for. Hi, Tamiyo. Nothing too spicy for you right now. Let's go ahead and do a little self-milling. Looks like I got a Timeless Witness and an Elvish Visionary off their deck, or an Eatrice off mine. I'm gonna go for this Timeless Witness. Use that to bring the Vraska into my hand. We got lands in the graveyard, so we can use those. Go ahead and use that island. Thanks for the mana, buddy. I don't really need that, but I appreciate you giving it to me anyway. And we're chillin'. They have enough mana for the Kogla. They have enough mana for anything, honestly. Elvish Archdruid, Selvala, that's good stuff. Part of why I felt I need Vraska and I need her now. Ooh, I love this! So they use the dungeon from Varus to make this real tiny to kill it with Kogla. They don't even have to trade. Yeah, bring back Muldrotha. Varus, by the way, being a half-elf, is also a human, so they can throw it back into hand with Kogla. They'd probably rather use this, though. Ooh, another henge. They can use the henge to do big nasty untapsies here. They have infinite card draw, I believe. Because Kogla can put this back into hand to untap Selvala or Archdruid. Well, you know what? I was gonna say, and they're gonna draw until they get to Craterhoof Behemoth. But they don't have to, because it was the first card they drew. Good game, Dynamite. Or maybe it's Dynamite-y. I'd believe it. Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh, a very scary commander. I think that this is a keepable hand, even though it only has 2 lands. But we're going to be probably facing off against Grixis Control. I play Nicol Bolas as specifically a crime deck, and I believe I am alone in my pursuit of criminal activity. So we'll have to find out what they're up to. Well, it's killing my Shigeki. I kind of needed that for mana. Thankfully, I still drew some mana, and I'm going to use that mana to put this Gyruda in my hand. Hi, Gyruda. I don't think anybody uses the actual art for Gyruda. It's always the Godzilla alt art. And we have a 4th. Perfect. You're ramping? I can ramp too. Key to the Archive getting me... Counterspell, sure. Who do we want to drop? I'm going to drop Cityscape Leveler because it's very expensive, has an Unearth ability, and I'm nowhere near casting it. A 6 mana? Sure. That's not this. This is 8. We can also bring it back with Muldrotha, which is super cool and super neato. I'm gonna go for my Gyruda this turn, though, since we did ramp to it. Did we whiff? Oh my gosh! It was 4 lands. 4 lands, and kill, extra turn, ramp, counterspell. This is a control deck. Thanks. I hate it. At least I still have a 6/6 on the battlefield. I'm gonna say that's pretty good. Attack in with my 6/6. Got my green here. Acolyte of Affliction. We're going to use this to get a land. Temple of Milady. Gallagreeters on top. Sure, I like Gallagreeters. I'm just going to make sure I was holding up Counterspell, because my opponent has mana for Nicol Bolas, and I'm really scared of Nicol Bolas. I play this as a commander. I know how strong it is. I know how good this card is. Ooh, wait, you're stealing? Well, I can stop that. I guess I could have also, like, destroyed it off this, and then replayed it. But no. Greed always wins. I'm gonna play the Prosperous Innkeeper. And then Hydroid Crisis for 1, 2, 3, 4. Using that treasure up. Was hoping to have drawn a land. Didn't. That's fine. We have really good stuff on the battlefield. Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh. Do you plus? Do you minus? They're stealing! They stole this old man! And they can even use him as a counterspell. Because I wouldn't be able to pay for the old man tax there, but that would leave them with no blockers, which would give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that would give me lethal, alright. We're gonna play Vraska. Do you want to counter it? You can't. That's dang Skippy, you can't. I am going to take out this old man from my deck. Send him right on back to heck. Gives me a treasure. Unfortunately, I don't have enough mana to play and sacrifice this to kill the Ornithopter, but everybody's going for face. They're down to 4. I'm going to play the Mind Stone. Good chance they've got board wipes, but we don't have board wipes. Aw, it's little Vraska. Look at what you grow into. This one actually happens chronologically before this one. What babes, though? Arns from Portal Sundering. They're taking an extra turn. They're going to bounce that back into my hand. And, I think you destroy Hydroid Crisis here? Yeah, that's legit. As a reminder, we have a Cityscape Leveler. I'm saying as a reminder because I forgot. I actually forgot we had Cityscape Leveler. And we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. It's all coming together. They're exiling. I found Jawari Disruption. That's not going to do very much. Oh no, not my Prosperous Innkeeper. They're sacrificing. That will gain them a life, which may appear to save them. But we know that it won't. Well, wait, they can also see this. They could have a kill spell. I don't know. Chandra! That's not a kill spell. That's just like a big fiery babe. Killing the Acolyte of Affliction. But what you forgot about was my graveyard! Cityscape Leveler coming on through! Choo-choo! And I'll destroy Nicol Bolas for fun and profit. Checka, 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 checka. 8-8! Good game! And I think that's going to be it for today's episode of Brawl Stars. Thank you so much for watching, and to everybody who celebrates, happy holidays! A Merry Christmas Hana Kwanzaa. Sounds like a good one. It's also the solstice and New Year's and everything else that happens in December and early January. A fine time to be festive. I even have this cute mug I found in the thrift shop. It's got a little fox and he's under some holly and he's wearing a scarf and mittens. It's cute. I like it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We actually voted today on which different decks I would build. So if you want to be a part of the voting process, you should come over to my channel, twitch.tv/Amazonian, where I stream almost every day, and you can help us decide what decks we build, like Muldrotha with these crazy restrictions, or Rith. I'll record Rith. Don't worry, I made it. I'm just not that impressed by it because it's just another dragon stack. We'll get there, though. Have a happy holiday season, and a good day. Bye!